Before we get in the program highlights, time for this week's joke of the week.
So, what does a flower do when they get caught in a lie?
Well, first of all, I didn't know flowers would lie, but I'm not. What?
They backpedal.
Backpedal.
Mm-hmm. This week's garden joke is brought to you by Rescue.com. American-made rescue products keep your family, home, and yard protected from pest insects like wasps, hornets, yellow jackets, flies, ants, and more. You can learn more at Rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com. So let's talk about fertilizer.
Fertilizer, we're going to break it down because we've always been conditioned. Okay, we plant something, we add fertilizer. If we think we got bad soil, we add fertilizer. Organic, inorganic, we add fertilizer. So we're going to break this down, organic versus inorganic, and make it make sense.
Break it down. So, okay. So a lot of people might have misconceptions about organic and inorganic fertilizer. They might think just because it's sold in the gardening area of a store that it's all the same, things like that. So there's a difference between organic and inorganic fertilizer. Organic fertilizers are made from or derived from living things. This includes plants, animals, manures. So any of these comes from the earth. Sometimes it's a combination of those things. Sometimes it's like a fungi situation. So yeah. And then inorganic fertilizer are synthetically derived chemicals plus minerals from the earth. So a common one is ammonium nitrate. That's a common inorganic fertilizer. People will add the nitrate because it does quickly take care of a problem with low
Instant
nitrate.
response.
However, it takes care of the problem short term, but it doesn't take care of the problem long term.
Kind of like an energy drink. It keeps you excited and going for a little bit, and then once that energy drink wears off, then you're back where you was. Is that kind of the concept?
Yeah.
Okay.
So organic stays in your soil longer. They feed the soil. They add to the soil in a way not necessarily like compost, but it allows the plant to pick up what it needs versus kind of like just being forced to pick up.
To accept it. And organic fertilizers are typically the numbers on the bag, which is the NPK or nitrogen, phosphate, potassium, are the lower spectrum, 283, 173. The synthetic fertilizers are typically the higher number, 1010, 2020, 30, those type of ranges of numbers.
Right. So, inorganic is used fast by plants, which we talked about. The other thing is it's washed out by the soil quickly. It's very water soluble. So, if you decide to use inorganic, don't think more is better because the plant's only going to take basically what it needs, and then the rest of it's going to get washed out quickly. Organic kind of floats around in the soil. It becomes part of the ecosystem within the soil. It breaks down.
Okay, yeah.
It breaks down much slower than inorganic.
And the organic, the microorganisms are able to break that down and make it utilized in a usable form for all plant life. Your potatoes, your peppers, whatever you're going to, and the weeds around it as well.
Right. And a lot of times when you use the inorganic, it does cause like this shell, like hard surface over the soil, which is it's not the worst thing, but it's not, to me personally, I would be like, that's weird. I don't want that going on. So
you're saying when it
garden.
uses the inorganic, it creates a barrier.
Yeah, like it makes the soil have this like toughness on top.
Okay.
So to me, it makes me feel like there's not good things from the earth getting in there.
Because normally soil does not create a casing over top of it to protect itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just think about like the worms and the microorganisms and all that stuff. Like, I don't know. Do whatever you want, but that's just how
we're just giving you the information.
Yeah.
We practice an organic means of gardening. If you choose not to, that is what you feel is best for your particular growing situation.
Now, blood meal is a great alternative, or I don't want to say alternative. It's a great organic nitrogen. It's usually higher, like when you're looking at the bag, the NPK on the
1200.
Yeah, like a 1200, like a 1210, something like that. Blood meal does release nutrients over a period of 2 to 6 weeks. So
it is not a form of a vegan. It is derived from animal blood.
Yeah. So you can use other things, but blood meal is, I think, is it urea?
Urea is one. Yeah.
So there are things that are more vegan friendly or vegetarian friendly. Blood meal is obviously not. Some people do use chicken feather meal. Again, probably not vegan either, vegetarian. And that's about 12% nitrogen. So if you are striving to
alfalfa meal, cottonseed
there
meal,
we go. Yeah.
Feather meal are alternatives, not the urea that we were speaking about. So those are alternatives to giving you that same rich in nitrogen level for a more vegan-friendly option.
Right. So then for the phosphorus, that would be rock phosphate, bone meal, and then qualytyl phosphate. And keep in mind, you need to think about how these are mined or captured,
right,
or whatever you want to call it. Some people
bone meal is the ground up portion, and there are people in urban settings or in like homesteading settings that will take the animals that they butchered and create bone meal for their growing situation. That is a thing.
Yeah, I believe it. So then for the third number, which is the potassium, which is the K, then we have kelp. So that would be vegan, I think.
Yeah, it's coming from the ocean.
Yeah, wood ash, granite meal, and then green sand.
With the wood ash, you got to be careful, because if you add too much, you can disrupt the pH level of your soil. And based on what you're burning, certain woods are more soil friendly, and you want to completely stay away from the pressure treated lumber if you're going to use ash for your garden.
So just a quick kind of rule of thumb, possibly, if you are not sure what your garden needs, I mean, you could do a soil test, or if you're like, hey, I have this issue, this might be why. Nitrogen is for the green parts of the plants. Potassium, no.
Yes.
Phosphorus.
Phosphorus
is for the root and the fruit, basically. And then potassium is for the overall health.
A balance.
Yeah.
So
that in case you're like, I don't know what these numbers mean, you can do more research, but you could also get a soil test.
Soil test from growsmart.com or soilsavvy.com. And the fun little fact, and I think there's very few things in this world that are universal no matter where you go in the world, those three numbers are the same in every country, in every form of fertilizer, NPK. I think like one of the few other things is like universal air traffic controllers all have to speak English is the standard language for air communication. But there's few things in the world everything's the same.
Yeah, that's true. So just to kind of talk about how this works, organic fertilizers are providing nutrients into the soil, and they're slow release. So they're moving around the soil, and that's how it works. That's how they work in the soil. The soil kind of breaks them down, the microorganisms, the fungi, the worms, the little microscopic things you don't see that are eating the organic matter. So that's how organic fertilizer works. It feeds the soil. It lives in the soil.
The soil is living.
Then the plants are like, hey, I need that, and they take what they need
when they need it.
Yeah, and then inorganic is like, here, this is what you're going to get.
In big ag industry, it is that is inorganic agricultural. The soil is just a medium for the plant to grow in, and you're supplementing all the nutrients that plant needs, the corn, the soybeans, the wheat, because the soil is basically dead. You can go on a field and dig a long way in an agricultural field that's been there for many years, and you won't find worms at all because all the chemicals, and that's just the way the world works. That's the way the farmers have to farm in this particular time frame of the history, and that's the way it is.
So if you're wondering where do I stand in being able to provide this information to you, and if it's accurate, I do have a bachelor's of science in environmental science, so I do understand this very well.
You know some stuff.
I know some stuff.
You know some stuff about some things.
Yeah.
Well, also, Walton's Inc. has some knowledge about some things as well.
Yeah, we know you care about where your food comes from, canning, preserving, etc. At waltonsinc.com, you can get all the equipment, seasoning, and supplies to make sausage, jerky, and any other meat product your way to your high standards. Do you want to make snack sticks that people will actually like? Walton's created meatjuststicks.com, an informational site to help you make the best finished product. They even have a full line of meat grinders, mixers, sausage stuffers, and more to help you go from animal to edible. Walton's everything but the meat. You can use code GROW50, that's GROW50 at waltonsinc.com to save 10% off of your order of $50 or more.